New details tonight on the mass shooting at a Florida school. Also, 10 San Diego gun owners forced to surrender their firearms. What prompted the move by local authorities?
We could see the carriers that are based here in San Diego, possibly in the future, carrying nuclear weapons out to sea.
Nuclear warheads may return to San Diego, the changes from the White House that could lead to this new reality.
Let's go!
Preparing for a blockbuster weekend, Black Panther roars into theaters. Our cinema junkie says it delivers. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. A developing story tonight in Mexico, which was shaken by a strong earthquake. This is a map from the U.S. Geological Survey, which measured the earthquake as a magnitude 7.2. It was centered in the state of Oaxaca and felt in Mexico City, about 200 miles away. There are no reports yet on whether the quake caused any widespread damage. The special counsel investigating Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election has announced new criminal charges. The indictment by a Washington, D.C. grand jury targets 13 Russian individuals. They're implicated in a conspiracy of financial crimes that involved a coordination political and social media campaign to support then candidate Donald Trump and others. The Justice Department describes the effort as information warfare. Here's some of what the Deputy Attorney General had to say.
They used stolen or fictitious American identities, fraudulent bank accounts, and false identification documents. The defendants posed as politically and socially active Americans, advocating for and against particular candidates. They established social media pages and groups to communicate with unwitting Americans. Now, there is no allegation in this indictment that any American was a knowing participant in this illegal activity. There is no allegation in the indictment that the charged conduct altered the outcome of the 2016 election. The indictment alleges that the Russian conspirators want to promote discord in the United States and undermine public confidence in democracy. We must not allow them to succeed.
PBS NewsHour will have more coverage on this developing story. It airs at 7 tonight here on KPBS. The FBI says it failed to act on a tip it received about the alleged Florida school shooter. The Bureau announced today that a call by someone close to Nicholas Cruz was made to a tip line last month, detailing his gun ownership and erratic behavior. However, the information was never passed along to a local FBI office. 14 students and 3 staff members were killed in Wednesday's shooting. 10 San Diego gun owners have been ordered to surrender their guns after courts determined they were at risk to themselves or others. The effort by City Attorney Mara Elliott comes just days after the school shooting in Florida. KPBS reporter Jade Hindman has more.
Well, the effort to get gun restraining orders has been going on since December. City Attorney Mara Elliott says in light of the high school shooting in Florida, she wanted to remind San Diegans they can take preventable action. Most of the 10 people with gun restraining orders right now either suffer from mental health problems or substance abuse issues. So far, the city attorney has 3 permanent orders, and they still have hearings for the remainder.
It's devastating to see that we're going through this yet again, and after such a short period of time since what happened in Las Vegas. And I think most people are alarmed, as I am. And the reason we wanted to again publicize that we do pursue gun violence restraining orders is because I want people to know that we're looking out for them, and we're doing everything we can in the city of San Diego to keep people safe. So there is a resource, and we take it very seriously, and we'll do everything within our power to protect people.
Now, Elliott says gun restraining orders are good for 1 year. If you feel someone may be a risk to themselves or others, she encourages you to call the police to get the procedure started. Jade Hindman, KPBS News.
Months after the deadly shooting in Las Vegas, Caesars Entertainment is the latest hotel company announcing a change to how it checks rooms. The company will enter rooms every 24 hours, even if a do not disturb sign is present. The checks will be done by security staff, not housekeeping. MGM, which owns the Mandalay Bay, requires a room check every 2 days. National City teachers are expected to rally at a school board meeting later this month. Their union and district have been at a stalemate in contract negotiations since mid-December. The biggest contention is that the district spent less than a third of what it budgeted for materials last year. Teachers say they're having to scrounge for lessons. One likens teaching to selling a car and says now he's building the car too.
I need to go out and find the materials to make the car. So I'm also being an engineer and putting it all together just to be able to teach the kids. And it's extremely exhausting. It's seen in the classroom.
The district says the money has not disappeared. It's saving its curriculum dollars because it wants to get teacher input and provide adequate training before making purchases. The chairman of Qualcomm is telling shareholders that a recent offer to buy the San Diego-based company is too low and might not pass the antitrust scrutiny. Paul Jacob made the comments in a letter to shareholders. Broadcom, a company based in Singapore, says its $121 billion bid is its last best offer. The leaders of both companies met earlier this week to talk about the proposal. 1 million San Diegans cannot actually afford to live here. That's according to a new report from the San Diego Regional Economic Corporation. According to EDC research, the struggle to make ends meet is connected to the region's high cost of living, and the economic outlook is expected to worsen. By 2030, Hispanics will be San Diego's largest demographic. Currently, 85% do not have bachelor's degrees, with 34% not finishing high school. The EDC predicts this will threaten the region's economic competitiveness if major steps aren't taken to close the achievement gap. Overcharges on water bills may be more widespread than initially thought. One councilman is now distancing himself from the city statement that this was something that only impacted 343 people in one area of town. Councilman Chris Cate held a public forum last night where people had a chance to voice concerns over their water bills. More than 250 people showed up with high bills demanding answers.
They did work in the street. They put a new meter box in. They disturbed it. Something went wrong. And they say, well, we only found one person in the entire county that's not doing their job. One?
After that meeting, Cate released a statement saying, quote, "After hearing dozens of the same story, I am not convinced that this is an isolated incident and truly hope the investigation is done quickly." He's encouraging people with questions to contact his office. The Trump administration wants to boost the number of nuclear weapons. At one time, California had one of the highest concentrations of nuclear weapons in the country. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh looks at how this plan might play out.
My highest obligation is to ensure the safety and security of the American people.
The Trump administration wants to add smaller tactical nuclear weapons as part of its nuclear posture review.
Welcome to the 2018 Nuclear Posture Review rollout.
It reverses a trend started at the end of the Cold War to shrink the number of weapons and the sites where they're stored.
If I want to locate the U.S. nuclear arsenal, where is it right now?
America's nuclear arsenal is surprisingly easy to locate just using Google Earth.
Hans, you're way ahead of me here. I'm still getting to Minot Air Force Base.
MINOT.
Hans Christensen is a nuclear weapons expert at the Federation of American Scientists.
There's a Minot Air Force Base up in North Dakota, sort of more or less in the middle of the state. That's a big Air Force base that has 2 strategic nuclear weapon systems.
He took me on a desktop tour of where the U.S. keeps its current weapons, including Minot's fleet of B-52 bombers.
I mean, you can actually see them right on Google Earth. It's right, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them waiting out on the tarmac.
Yeah, it's a busy base.
Before the last review in 2010, the U.S. kept nuclear weapons at a bunch of sites around the country. Minot was once on high alert.
If you look at the southeast end of the runway, you can see sort of a pattern of parking spaces that sort of looks like a Christmas tree. That used to be the alert area where the bombers would be until 1991. They would stand there with nuclear weapons on board.
Now the Air Force runs a few bases with bombers and intercontinental ballistic missiles in Wyoming, Missouri, and North Dakota. The Navy arms submarines in Georgia and Washington State. Christensen says most of the rest of the weapons, including weapons waiting to be dismantled, are in an underground facility barely visible from the air, across from a golf course outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Under that storage facility, or in that storage facility, you have several thousand nuclear warheads that are stored.
The sites are easy to find for a reason, partly because of nuclear arms agreements, though this is also part of nuclear deterrence.
You need to tell people that you have them. You need to demonstrate and visualize that you have forces that are operating that are credible.
The virtual tour barely stops in California. During the Cold War, California was among the top 4 states housing nuclear weapons. Naval Base North Island in San Diego was one of the last places that the Navy housed nuclear-tipped Tomahawk cruise missiles. The smaller weapons were placed on attack submarines before the U.S. retired almost all low-yield weapons after 2010. It's these so-called tactical nuclear weapons that the Trump administration wants to bring back.
Classical conceptions of security.
Eric Gartsky with the University of California, San Diego, says the Russians worry about NATO's overwhelming superiority with conventional forces.
The threat of a small-scale, limited nuclear strike might intimidate NATO. And so that's the kind of card that they're willing to use.
Though for the U.S., Gartsky says smaller nuclear weapons could just make nuclear war more tempting.
What tactical nuclear weapons allow us to do is to go to and past the brink of nuclear war in places in which we're not willing to risk the fate of the nation.
Beyond the policy debate, Gartsky is trying to imagine where the new weapons might go. He believes the fastest way to get them into service would be to put them on board aircraft carriers, the way the U.S. did during the Cold War.
We could see the carriers that are based here in San Diego, possibly in the future, carrying nuclear weapons out to sea.
Another route is to put them back on attack submarines like the ones ported in San Diego and Norfolk. Though these experts caution that new weapons will cost millions, and even with congressional support, it could easily take a decade to put new nukes in the field. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
The local paper has an innovative response to the Florida shooting. The region's pot industry is looking to support friendly San Diego politicians. The investigation into Duncan Hunter's campaign finance mess heats up, and a local journalist gets in trouble with the county for doing her job. Join us for the KPBS Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
An upgrade for the International Space Station. This spacewalk was done to replace the hands of a Canadian robot. Each hand is more than 3 feet long and over 400 pounds. U.S. and Japanese astronauts collaborated on today's project, which NASA says had been delayed for several months. Future breakthroughs in robotics, drone technology, and artificial intelligence may come from work being done at Caltech in Pasadena. Scientists are making new discoveries in the way robots and humans interact. Reporter Dave Nazar got an up-close look.
Imagine a world where robots and drones are all around us, interacting with us, helping us, accompanying us. A world where robots and drones are not remotely controlled, they work autonomously. That's what scientists like Dr. Aaron Ames at the California Institute of Technology are working towards. Caltech in Pasadena has just opened its brand new Center for Autonomous Systems and Technologies, also known as CAST. Dr. Ames and his fellow science brainiacs say their goal is to get robots and drones to partner with humans. For example, what if you could have a robot take care of your aging parents who have health problems and live alone? What if you could have robots and drones respond to natural disasters like fires or hurricanes to save people so you don't endanger the lives of rescuers in certain situations? What if you could have a robotic prosthetic that works on its own if you are an amputee? Or what if you're simply a couch potato and want a robot or drone to do all of your shopping for you?
This is really cool. Yes, it is. This is Cassie. It's a walking robot built by Agility Robotics and newly arrived at Caltech, and the hope is on this robot to test autonomous related concepts.
When you say autonomy, I mean, you're kind of saying this thing is going to have its own brain and work on its own?
That's right. It's all of engineering in one package. You have to think about how it's designed mechanically, how the linkages come together to get the kind of behavior you want. You have motors, right? Those motors have to be controlled by processors, which then have to be controlled by other processors. So at the core of all that, there's algorithms, and the algorithms represent the math that describes what walking is.
It's as if she has a mind of her own, and she's walking on her own.
That's right.
And that's kind of freaky.
It is kind of freaky, and people, they think this is a result of artificial intelligence sometimes, and they think that it has a life of its own, but it doesn't. This is a result of very clever and interesting mathematics being implemented on the robot.
I designed the brains behind the robots here at CAST.
Dr. Anima Anand Kumar is a computer science professor at Caltech. Anand Kumar specializes in artificial intelligence and machine learning. She helps program Cassie.
For me, like artificial intelligence and machine learning is asking how we can take in all the data of the world and create knowledge.
In other words, help give Cassie intelligence, help get her brain. Anand Kumar explains that Cassie is able to walk around the university with us because she has basically been given instructions on how to walk. These instructions are the AI that has been programmed into the robot. This artificial intelligence allows Cassie to know how to walk on certain kinds of surfaces, like the concrete here. However, you see her struggle when we try to walk with her on uneven pavement or grass. Scientists are working towards a day when they won't have to program specific instructions. With improved processors and sensors, robots like Cassie could be able to take information from their environment and learn how to adapt and react on their own. Scientists and researchers at Caltech are trying to give drones those same capabilities. This is the largest drone testing facility in the United States. What you're seeing here at the lab is a giant wind tunnel. This wind tunnel simulates all different types of weather patterns. Things like wind gusts, high turbulence, even tornadoes. The goal is to design a state-of-the-art drone system to operate autonomously in any type of weather condition.
Drones are going to play a big role in the future of our society. Think of drones that they have to go scout a dangerous area, or they have to go save people or find people that need help. In that respect, operators cannot be there all the time. They have to be able to think.
It sounds like you're trying to turn a drone into a human.
Well, we are trying to make the drone to a partner for humans.
Partners for humans?
How funny is that, though? So, what's your dog's name? You have Dash, we have Cassie.
Here in San Diego, it will be a warm and sunny weekend before a chance of rain returns. Jeff Cornish has details in tonight's forecast.
Sometimes it seems that change is the only constant in the atmosphere, and we're dealing with some changes here over the next 3 or 4 days. Get ready for them. We're warm and dry, very nice Saturday, much cooler next week. And in transition to that time, look out for some rain showers even. They'll be very welcome on Sunday night into Monday morning. President's Weekend is here, and we have a pretty quiet setup for us here this evening and tonight. Still some rain into parts of at least the southern third of the Four Corners region, parts of southern Arizona and into New Mexico. But for us, clear skies, 51, quiet setup for us tonight. We'll get down to 51 up in Long Beach, 37 in Oceanside, Borrego Springs 42, and we'll dip below freezing for a time at Mount Laguna. Tomorrow, great weather will be with us. We'll have a bit of an offshore wind, but not terribly strong. The Santa Anas are not going to be a fire threat or anything of that nature. Just a warm day. Now, right along the coast will be around 71, but we'll gain about 7 degrees as we travel, say, a dozen miles inland. And we'll be up around 78 degrees into Borrego Springs, Mount Laguna, a cooler 55-degree high. Early next week, there's a big dip in the jet stream. Meanwhile, the warm weather will be off to the east. So while Atlanta, Georgia is downright spring-like, and we briefly hit the 80s in parts of Texas, we'll be on the cool side here with that onshore breeze. And again, a couple of showers will enter the forecast on Monday. That's good news for us. We need more of that. We'll fall from 71 to 60 near the coast over the next 3 days. Get ready for changes. Cool Monday and Tuesday. Inland areas fall from 78 all the way down to 60. Couple of welcome raindrops there as well. That looks nice. Into the mountainous terrain, 55 for your Saturday high. Nice day for a hike. Showers roll in on Monday with a high down to 43. And then our final destination here will be the deserts, where we drop from 78 to 66. We might be a little more hard-pressed to find many showers here, but it does look maybe a little cloudier into Monday with the cool air. I'm Jeff Cornish for KPBS News. Back to you, Ebony.
Today, a group of San Diego kids and educators came together to celebrate Black History Month and raise money for area schools. The after-school event was held at El Patron Mexican Restaurant in San Diego's Lincoln Park neighborhood. Owners there have created signature dishes with proceeds of the sales going toward supplies for area schools. At today's event, children in attendance listened to passages from We Are Our Ancestors' Keepers. The San Diego author says the book is filled with stories to inspire pride and unity.
This book actually, it starts before slavery, and it goes into those that built the pyramids and just our sacrifice and our contribution to civilization.
When we tell these stories to our students and when they read about these stories, they are going to be motivated and they're going to be inspired to become great. And that's what we want for all of our kids.
Supporters hope the book will be used by teachers as a way to supplement the curriculum. This holiday weekend brings dance, jazz, and Russian literature. Here with details is KPBS Arts Calendar Editor Nina Guerin.
A favorite local event returns this weekend, San Diego Ballet's Ritmos Latinos. Trumpeter Gilbert Castellanos presents world premiere music based on Dia de los Muertos. During the concert, ballet dancers will perform new works by choreographer Javier Velasco. This night of Latin music and dance also features a piece set to the music of popular Mexican songwriter Agustin Lara. There's another major dance event happening in Escondido, the Youth America Grand Prix Ballet Competition. You may have heard of YAGP from the popular documentary First Position. Student ballet dancers perform classic and contemporary variations for the chance to win scholarships and even jobs in professional companies. It's a low-cost way to see some of the most famous ballet pieces performed by rising ballet dancers. Finally, the Old Globe commissioned a world premiere translation of the Russian classic Uncle Vanya. Anton Chekhov's story is about an extended family staying together in a Russian country house. It's a quiet play that's revered for its ability to capture deep emotion through simple moments. The production is directed by Richard Nelson and stars nationally renowned actors Roberta Maxwell and J.O. Sanders. For KPBS Arts, I'm Nina Guerin.
Stay up to date on the San Diego art scene with the KPBS Arts Calendar and our arts newsletter. Sign up at kpbs.org/newsletter. Marvel's eagerly anticipated Black Panther movie is now open. KPBS cinema junkie Beth Accomando says it lives up to the hype.
In July of 1966, in the midst of the Civil Rights Movement, Marvel Comics introduced the character of Black Panther in Fantastic Four issue number 52. It was Marvel's first black superhero, and the cultural impact of an African character kicking the butts of the white superheroes deserves to be appreciated, even if the character was created by a couple of white men named Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Black Panther wasn't named after the political activist group the Black Panthers, which came into existence just months after the superhero debuted. But Black Panther shook things up in a similar manner. Now, Marvel's Black Panther movie arrives on the big screen, poised to break all sorts of records.
Okay.
I give director and co-writer Ryan Coogler much of the credit for Black Panther's success. He brings the character to the screen with a savvy awareness of how to balance Hollywood's demand for a marketable product
Ready, go!
with his own personal vision as an artist. He proved his skill at walking this tightrope with Creed in 2015, and now he delivers one of Marvel's best entries.
You show off?
One key to the film's success is the balance of power among the characters, almost all of whom are black for a change. Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther is powerful, but also flawed and unsure how to assume the throne. That means there's room on screen for some powerful women to step up to advise and support him. Plus, Black Panther has one of the best villains of any Marvel film in Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger. The reason Killmonger is so good is he's a complex villain whose motives and rage are understandable. Black Panther is the superhero film we need now, one that mixes entertainment with social awareness. Comic book movies don't get better than this. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.